What up, Raptors Nation? This is your boy Ali. Welcome to Jurassic and Park. Alright, first of all, I just want to say thank you for everybody that has subscribed so far. We have 290 subscribers and it's been 2 months. So that's a good trajectory for the type of channel that we're trying to have here. We have Raptors news, we have highlights. I just made a Scottie Barnes top 25 highlight video that a lot of people seem to like, so if y'all haven't seen that yet, y'all can check it out right over here. And let's move into these 6 takeaways, because I know for a fact that a lot of y'all might be sharing some of these, not just concerns but pleasures and joys as well. So not only are we talking about these 6 takeaways, but we're also going to be talking about a wish list. Let's move on to takeaway number 1. Scottie Barnes is an actual demon. He's the rookie of the year in my eyes, and in the eyes of many out there, I'm sure. The dude's length, versatility, his positionless acumen, his defense, and not to mention something that a lot of people were like, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. The shooting. Who would have thought the man would be drilling step back 3-pointers and shit? Who would have thought that? Pardon my French. I know there's some kids watching here. I tried to clear it up from my earlier videos. I had a freaking potty mouth, so I'm my best here to keep it clean for y'all. And yeah, like I was saying about Scottie Barnes, the dude is just 20 years old. He has a 7'6" wingspan. He's 6'7". He has larger hands than Kawhi. And I said this in one of my previous videos. Like, it's actually one of the earlier videos. This is only a 2-month-old channel. So do hit that like and subscribe button, show your support, especially if you're a Raptors fan. This is primarily for the Raptors, this content that I'm making. And there will be some NBA videos as well, like, some news reports, like I just made one for Steph Curry. If y'all want to check that out, when he broke that 3-point record, that one's right up there. Other than that, I did make a top 25 Scottie Barnes video. Top 25 plays of his best plays as a Raptor so far. So if you guys want to check that out, please do. It took time to write those little captions for it as well that I do in most of my highlight mixes. But yeah, welcome to Jurassic and Park, guys. All right, my name is Ali. I'll be bringing you guys dope Raptors content. All right, just so you all know. And this is the Jurassic and Park 6 takeaways for Christmas. So Merry Christmas to y'all, first of all, that celebrate it. And season's greetings to those that don't. Now, what I will say about Scottie as well, like going back to the subject here, I do tend to ramble sometimes, so don't mind that. I'll try to make a little bit of cuts here and there so y'all don't have to hear me just go on and on. But anyways, Scottie Barnes is just 20 and he might grow an inch. The fact that his hands are bigger than Kawhi's already, right? The dude's going to be a monster. He already is a monster, but he's going to be a monster even more. A bigger monster. He's going to be the definition of beast. Because think about it. The guy can dribble like a guard. He played point guard in college, as did Dalano Banton. And I'll get to him. But I'm going to tell you right now, Scottie Barnes is a demon. Straight up. Like, he's reminding me of like a Magic Johnson type. But with better shooting mechanics. And with the Raptors elite development staff and coaching staff, I can't see why this guy can't turn into a lethal shooter, because he's already showing signs of being a consistent shooter. His mid-range game is so good, on point, that mid-range magic. And recently, I'm sure a lot of y'all will agree, especially after that Brooklyn showing, man. But even before that, the dude was hitting threes, man. He started off the season really cold with 3-pointers, but he started hitting serious threes. And I was so amped. I'm sure all of y'all were so amped when you seen that. I called him Scottie freaking Curry, in my video, because I'm like, dude, the guy, like, I'd rather have him shoot. Because, when we're off, our team's off, then y'all already know how many 3-pointers we'd be missing. And then I remember a couple games, and I'm sure y'all also do. I don't remember exactly which game it was, but Scottie was hitting threes and nobody else was. Vanvleet was bricking them, and OG, man, I miss OG. We're going to get to OG just now. But yeah, Scottie Barnes. Before I ramble on, like I said, Scottie Barnes is the number one takeaway for me in this, and I'm sure for a lot of y'all as well. You know, so he definitely cracks number one. So we're not gonna cause crazy build up and go like 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 kind of thing. It's just we're gonna go one. We're gonna go with the top, the best of the best. Because I know a lot of people don't watch full YouTube videos anyway. So you know, but I suggest that you do watch this one. A, because there's 6 takeaways, not just one, and B, I'd appreciate the watch time. You know, YouTube watches that stuff. They want people sticking around. The more y'all click away, the less they expose us. So I'm gonna try to make this video as nice as possible. You know, took a nice shower. You know, I had a nice lineup for y'all, you know. And I'm gonna make some cuts so you don't hear too many ums and ahs. And we're gonna try to make this video as entertaining as possible for y'all. So, with that being said, number 2, right? And my second takeaway for this season, Gary Trent Jr. Take it and go. The dude is a beast. I'm sure a lot of people did not expect, first of all, from on the defensive end, nobody expected Gary Trent Jr. to be one of the league leaders in steals 29 games into the season. He started off as top 2 in deflections and steals, and he's still lingering around the top. I haven't checked it recently, but hold up a second. Let me just do a quick check here. Hold on. Who would have thought that 29 games into this season, Gary Trent Jr. is going to be the league leader in steals? He's number 1 currently. Who would have thought that? Definitely not me. I actually made a segment about it. It's called Grand Theft Jr., as in the thumbnail is called that. But it talks about why his defensive, if you guys, want to, really get an in-depth look at why his defense is turning heads NBA-wide right now, league-wide. Basketball pundits across the world he's garnering attention from them. And that's because nobody expected him to be so good defensively. When he was in Portland, his defense was mediocre. Actually, it was subpar, very subpar. And heading right before he headed into that bubble where his defense got much better during that time. But right before that, he was one of the worst defenders in the league. His efficiency numbers for defense were in line with Dame's numbers. And Dame is obviously not known for his defensive, prowess. So let's really understand that Gary Trent Jr. came a very long way defensively. And not to mention, I'm not even talking about his offense. The dude's offense is next level. The dude's offense is progressing so well. He's taking that next step offensively. His decision making's gotten so much better, and his percentages have gotten so much better. He's averaging a career best 17 points right now. But it's the defense. It's that defensive dog in him that is awoken now. And that is the most impressive thing about Gary Trent. And at 57 mil for 3 years, that's a steal. Pun intended. And remember, the guy is only 22, 23 years old. I believe it's 22. I'll double check. But that is phenomenal. That kind of progression. First of all, if it wasn't even part of his identity to be a defensive stud the way he is right now, for him to develop that, it's been just a year that he's been with the Raptors. Came here last March, I think, something in trade deadline, right? Or February, trade deadline, my bad. I'm sure that a lot of people are just shocked by this, including myself. Now it's becoming a norm seeing GTJ just, strip some of the best ball handlers out there because of his defensive hustle, and he's become just that elite shot maker, and I can trust Gary Clutch Jr. in the clutch, man. And I'm sure a lot of y'all too. we know that he has that Ice and Veins badge on purple for 2K. I mean, that Ice and Veins badge has displayed itself. Like, remember the Wizards game where you hit that game winner last year? Who can forget that? You know, it was like his third game here or something like that. Dude pushes off Raul Neto. Yeah, you know, like the guy flops. So, but regardless, he hit the three, and that was like, Pascal's like, man, this guy's 1 for 1, bro. I've been trying this I'm like 1 for 9. You know, I think I only remember one game-winning shot that Pascal hit. But anyways, it was that layup, you know, with it was a 360. He did a spin move, his typical spin move, and then he hit a layup to win the game. And the whole crowd went crazy, and it was at home. Speaking of which, we got to be better at home. That's just a side note. I didn't put that as an official, takeaway, but we got to be better at home. This home record has been abysmal, and I think that has a lot to do with playing on the road for so long. And it's just adjusting again to being at home. And then now COVID's hit, and people are and now players are not playing, and that doesn't really help us, develop that consistent. Doesn't help us get used to playing at home. So hopefully with some luck and a little bit better mental preparation, we can get over this hump and get back to one of the most feared home teams in the league. I actually made a segment about this right over here that discusses this in depth if you guys want to check it out. It's called, that video is right over here. And I went a little bit more in depth about our struggles, and how we can overcome these home struggles and what it's been like, So if you guys are into that, then do check this video out right over here. Took me a little bit to make it, but it's informative, and it'll give you guys an idea of what's going on in my head about that. And I'm sure actually a lot of people that I showed the video to, they really resonated with them. So check that out if you do get a chance. And so pretty much that's takeaway number 2. Gary Trent Jr., defensively and offensively, he's just been tremendous, and his ceiling is super high. I'm going to put a question mark on it now. I mean, who would have thought he's going to be leading the league in steals, So maybe there's more mystery boxes to be opened with Gary Trent. And I feel like there is, because he surprises me, Like, there's something new about him that I notice all the time. I think it's tremendous that we have Gary. And I think he's going to be a big part of our future. Takeaway number 3. OG. I love how that rhymed. Now, as we all know, OG was actually sidelined for about 13 games, I believe, due to a hip pointer injury. And I know we all felt his absence, 100%, because his defensive versatility, the fact that he was averaging a team-high 20 points per game, a career high, actually. He was having a career season before he went down with that injury. It just goes to show how much he's worked on his game and how much potential that actually still lay dormant within him. I think year to year, just like he has been showing, he's going to keep on progressing. And don't be surprised if OG Anunoby becomes an all-star. I made a take about that as well. And I believe firmly that had he not gotten injured, his points per game would not just have been 20, it would have gone up. And this dude would have been considered for the all-star game. But unfortunately, OG has had some trouble with injuries in the past. He's been able to stay healthier past couple seasons, but as we all know, he's missed playoffs before when we needed him most, right? And it was hard. Even our championship run, he wasn't playing. Imagine him and Kawhi and Pascal, and it would have made our run much easier. I mean, it's never easy going to the finals, but it would have made it easier. So OG Anunoby, I think he's definitely a big takeaway. The fact that he's back right now, it's just going to add so much more defensive versatility because we know he can guard we know he can guard 1 through 5. And we know that he's gotten much better at shooting. We know that his offensive versatility has increased a lot more. He's taking people off the dribble. He's able to hit those 3-pointers, step backs. I mean, he's doing step backs. He's able to hit 3-pointers off the dribble. You name it, the dude has worked on it. His post game has gotten better, and he's an all-around player. He's like a Kawhi breed. And if you look at Kawhi's stats and if you look at OG's stats in the same years, it's eerily similar. I said this in another take as well. Keep referring to my previous takes, but these little bits of information just keep coming back to me. But OG Anunoby, man, this guy is going to be an all-star. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways this season is that his development has just continued to progress in such a good way. He's on the right trajectory. He's on a very good trajectory. And the sky's the limit for OG. As long as he can stay healthy, I see him, surprising a lot of people out there as well. I'm not going to throw crazy awards and, predictions out there. But one prediction I will say is that the dude's going to be an all-star. Mark my words. He'll be an all-star. Now, moving on to takeaway number 4, Fred VanVleet. Steady Freddy. Federico Suave. Fred Van Thrizzle. I can't think of any more names. But yeah, Fred VanVleet. He's been amazing. And he's been a great successor to Lowry. And he's filling that role admirably. I really like what I'm seeing from Fred VanVleet. Yes, he does take some crazy shots sometimes, and he's not so good when it comes to those game-winning shots, as we all know, so we might not want him taking the last shots. I think he's 0 for everything right now when it comes to those. But his leadership, he's the captain of our team, clearly. I don't think we have a clear-cut captain, but if they were to give it to somebody, it would be, if someone were to be asked that question, like Nick Nurse would be asked that question, then I'm pretty sure it would be Fred VanVleet. The guy looks like the father of the team, Speaking of fatherhood, the guy's just really good when he has a kid, eh? Do you guys remember that? God damn, man. I hope that guy has kids every playoffs, so we can just see Fred VanVleet, go crazy and, Super Saiyan mode and all that. Oh, man, I remember that. That was one of the best moments ever, man. God, I missed that moment. We're going to get a next chip. Just watch. But yeah, Fred VanVleet's also averaging career highs across the board. Just take a look at these numbers. And obviously there's more shots, on the board with Lowry gone. He's getting more minutes. But the fact that he's able to take that pressure on, he did have a very slow start to the season, if y'all remember. The first few games, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster. The guy was missing everything. But he really shaped up after that, and he's been one of the best guards in the Eastern Conference since then. He's been really good. He's been steady Freddy, and he's been super on fire Freddy as well. Can't really think of a good name for him, but Fred Van Thrizzle, crazy. He got one of the best deep. I was just reading a stat recently. Fred VanVleet's got one of the best deep 3 percentages in the league. Yeah, he's like top 5 or something like that. Maybe like, I'm not sure exactly what place he is, but he has one of the best percentages in the league, deep 3-pointer wise. So that's really, really good to see, and we know he can shoot those threes, man. When he's on, he's on. And also, not to mention, I see Fred VanVleet becoming an all-star as well. Y'all must be looking at me like, how many all-stars do you think the Raptors have? Honestly, the way that we're built and the trajectory and the trajectory in which our players are going in, those of y'all that know, that, yeah, we have potential all-stars scattered throughout the team. Few of them. Right? With Gary Trent Jr., we talked about Fred VanVleet right now, OG Anunoby. Right? We already have Siakam, who's made the all-star team. Right? You guys are like, oh, you guys got 4 all-stars? Yeah, potential all-stars. Right? Not to mention Scottie Barnes. Superstar. The dude's going to be a superstar. Mark my words, y'all already know. Scottie Barnes is the real deal. Generational talent. So Masai and Bobby, they've done tremendously well. We're not the kind of team to go sign big agents, big free agents and go crazy with all that stuff. And just buy a Louis Vuitton bag. Nah. We shop smart. We don't go to Value Village. But we're somewhere in between. As one of the greatest Raptor YouTubers, as one of the greatest Toronto Raptors YouTubers out there, Chev likes to say, Masai casts his net across the whole world. Much larger field. If LeBron, who's one of the most powerful figures in the NBA, if not in sports, and in sports, right? The dude will get his players from the States. Right? It's usually just the States or Europe. Masai is getting people from like Egypt. If y'all remember when we're trying to shop for a center this summer, and I know we haven't I'm going to get to that in a second, but before I get sidetracked, we got some dude from Egypt. Masai started this Giants of Africa basketball league now, so just imagine like what's coming. We're going to find some gems down there. And Masai is running it, so he's going to have in on who goes where and who's the best. Like Masai is going to know what's good. Like Masai is a basketball savant, man. And Bobby Webster is really good as well. I know that Bobby has a larger role than a lot of people think he does. And he's like the right-hand man of Masai. Very smart dude. So these two in tandem with one another, top notch. They're like the Splash Brothers of the front office, of the NBA front office. They're like the face of the all NBA front offices. The Splash Brothers of the front office. They're the executive Splash Brothers. That's what they are, But yeah, like I said, Fred VanVleet, he's takeaway number 4. Definitely having a career year, and I'm loving what I'm seeing from Freddie. So let's go to takeaway number 5 now. Now, these last 2 takeaways, they're not super positive like the first 4. Chris Boucher looks like a former shell of himself. If you guys remember last year, Bloc Québécois was next level. He was having a career year, averaging career numbers. He was a very reliable 3-point shooter, extremely good shot blocker. I'm going to put the stats right down here for you so you guys can check it out. He was a beast last year. Look at this. Just look at that. What happened? Randomly, this guy just starts breaking all the threes. He's nowhere. He's getting manhandled in the post. He was never that strong to handle it, but he was just so good last year. He was a factor last year. Remember that 38 point, 19 rebound performance? Who can forget that? 38 points and 19 rebounds. He put on 15 pounds of muscle last year, and he came in ready. And this year, he looked the same. So I don't know what this guy didn't eat this summer. But honestly, it really messed up a lot of things, man. I'm actually sad because this is his contract. He's playing for a contract. He's the $7 million expiring this year. What's he gonna do? Go back to the G League? Come on, Chris. Man should have weight gained during the summer, man. You were an MIP candidate last year. What are you doing, fam? I'm cheesed at you, fam. Chris Boucher. You better get back to what you were, man. You've been playing a little bit better recently. But that's more like it. Jeez. Takeaway number 6. Now look, guys. Kem Birch has been solid for us as a center. Precious Achiuwa has had his moments. But without a true center, a proper big man, like a 7-foot center, 6'11" at the least. Both our centers right now are 6'9", fam. No, 6'8", 6. I think Precious is 6'8". You know, and he's no Bam yet. So teams that can expose us, who have big men, they will expose that in us. Like Memphis Grizzlies. The Memphis Grizzlies, when we faced off against them the last time we faced them, Steven Adams had a field day with us in the paint. Same with Jaren Jackson Jr. Dude dropped like 25 points, 6 rebounds, and something almost like triple-double, like flirting with crazy numbers, man. You know, it was really... That irks me, you know, that we still haven't addressed the center hole ever since the departure of Ibaka and Gasol. So we really got to do something about this. So these are the assets. So the assets that we have trade-wise that we can trade a center for, Trent, which I'm not trading. I'm sure a lot of y'all are just like, no, we're not trading Trent, especially with that contract, right? But Trent would be one, right? Like if you're looking at, you know, depending on the deal, right? So you have Trent, you have Achua, you have Flynn. So you have Trent, you have Achua, you have Flynn, you have Birch, draft picks, and Boucher, whose trade value is like, you know, let's not even get into his trade value. You know, I'm sure you guys can put the pieces of the puzzle together. People wanted him before. Last year they wanted to do him. And now he's probably just has mediocre trade value, you know? It's sad. I was so high on Chris Boucher before last year, and when he showed up last year, I was like, yeah, I told y'all. I was telling my boys and stuff, man. I was like, yo, I knew this guy's gonna be sick. And he turned out sick, you know? And then now he's like sick in a bad way. Looks like he's sick in a bad way, at least. But we can maybe package some of these guys, like some odd combination of these players that I just mentioned. Really, I wouldn't want to trade Trent at all. And get ourselves that true center that we're looking for. These are the assets we have to play with, and that's a lot of assets. A lot of teams would want these players, right? So with Masai and Bobby Webster's savant-like expertise in the front office department, I can see us becoming contenders in the next couple of years. But it's also all going to depend on our performance this season. You know, how is it going to be midway through the season, which we're not far off from. But during that time, we're going to get a very strong idea of where this team is heading this season. And then maybe based on that, Masai and Bobby will make a decision whether they should go for someone this season. Now remember, Goran Dragic's expiring contract is also going to be part of the trade I mentioned earlier. Okay, because that 19 mil is hard to move, but with the assets that I mentioned earlier, we could maybe land ourselves someone like a Miles Turner. You know, and a lot of people are against that, but let me tell you something. He has great potential. He's only 25 years old, Miles Turner is. And I know for a fact that the Raptors can take those holes that he has in his game and fill them. This dude can be a problem, and if he just gets out of that situation in Indiana, it hasn't been a winning team in quite a bit, right? And he comes to the Raptors, different culture, different mindset, different coaching staff, the best coaching staff in my opinion, and training staff in the league with player development. Miles Turner could be one of the best options for us right now. And I think he'd be a great Raptor. I've always seen him as a Raptor for some reason. Leading the league in blocks, by the way. Yeah, he can get schooled in the paint, especially by Scottie. There's a lot of those. If y'all want to take a look at the longer version of Scottie's mix, y'all can take a look in the top Raptors playlist. I think I already recommended like 3 videos, so I think you can only suggest that many. I'm gonna go crazy. But actually no, it's 5. So yeah, I can put that up here for you guys if you guys want to check out Scottie Barnes' top plays so far. It's like a longer montage, not a top 25, but his top plays so far. But yeah, essentially these are the takeaways, guys. I think that as long as we can get ourselves that true center, then we're on the right, and it's most likely going to be a young center. We are on the right track to be a contender in the next couple of years. Scottie's developing way faster than expected. He's going to be a shoo-in for Rookie of the Year at this point. Well, he is fighting with Evan Mobley, but Scottie's so different. Evan Mobley's different too. Don't get me wrong. I know Evan Mobley's scouting report. But Scottie's Scottie. Scottie's got that energy. He's got that beast in him. He's got that dog in him. And he just wants it. You can just see it. So that's pretty much it when it comes to the takeaways and the Christmas wish list. I will say this though, guys. One thing I did leave out, and this is a bonus little takeaway. Dalano Banton has really surprised a lot of people, including myself. Dalano Banton is going to be a problem in the future. I'm just going to say this. He needs a little bit more work. He has some things that he's got to polish up. He got to get stronger, and his shooting's got to get better. But once he adds those 2 things, which he's very young and he definitely can, especially with the training, the food these boys eat nowadays, Dalano Banton is going to be a major problem in this league. He's going to be a beast. The length at 6'9", he played point guard in Nebraska. The versatility defensively, he's very good. Extremely good defensive perimeter defense. Extremely good with perimeter defense. You guys should take a look at some of his preseason highlights on the perimeter defense. I did make a Banton little mini doc, if you will, about his all-star potential. So if you guys want to check that out, that's the last video I'm going to link you to. That's right up here. Do take a look at that. It goes in depth about what this boy can become. All right, that's the final takeaway, guys. I'll tell you right now, Dalano Banton, he's from Toronto. As we all know, he's from Rexdale. I'm really huge on this guy. I think he's going to be, the sky's the limit for him. He's a very unicorn. He's a unicorn type of player, You don't find people at 6'9" with his length, over 7-foot wingspan where he's like 6'11" wingspan, like Ben Simmons wingspan, that can dribble the way he does. And pass the way he does. His vision is ridiculous. Have you guys seen that? So I love Banton, and that's definitely one of the takeaways, and that's the bonus takeaway. And other than that, guys, I think I've taken longer than I wanted to for this one, but hit that like and subscribe button if y'all enjoyed this. I think the Raptors have a really, really bright future and present as well. I like what I'm seeing this season. We're 14-15. We're a very young team. Everyone's developing in the right trajectory. We're true to our culture of developing talent from within. And just being a Raptors fan with Masai Ujiri at the helm has really been an honorable, I'm honored to be a Raptors fan because they are the Raptors, and the way we run our organization is the way organizations should be run. Most of these other organizations, they're always trying to buy their way into a championship. Minus the Spurs, a couple other franchises, the Spurs of the past. But we are the new Spurs. The 5 championships in 15 years, Spurs, I think it was around that range. That's who we are now. And it's 2021, almost 2022, baby. I think that this team is going to be a dynasty in the future. The way we are built, the way our front office is run, like I said, you can't compete with that. Not the way the rest of the league is going. They're always trying to buy their way into things, like I said. It's just not working out. Look at the Lakers. Right? Look at the Nets. They didn't win last year. And it's murky whether they will this year. They're relying on just 2 players. All their money's in there. So I really love what I'm seeing from this team, from this organization. It's a great time to be a Raptor. You know, it's almost 2022. And by the way, just in case I don't catch you guys before then, I hope I do, but Happy New Year to all of you guys. I hope all your wishes and all your dreams come true. And the good dreams. And, well, I think the bad ones would be nightmares. But regardless, thank you all for watching. Thank you for tuning into Jurassic and Park. Stay tuned for the next one. Hit that like and subscribe button. And have a good one. Peace.